the New York Knicks. I'm back, rocking in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, it's like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it's the New York Knicks podcast, episode 478. We are about a week away from the regular season.
Yes,
Finally.
It's preseason for the Knicks podcast, and we're doing more shows. The Knicks are playing games.
Right. We should mention we are part of the Dash Radio and the Lineups podcast network. So go to lineups.com, check that out.
Since last show, I mean, the Knicks they started the season off with a victory. We talked about that last show. But since last show, the Knicks had a more Nixian performance. They played the Wizards again. They were up 30-15. Everything was going well. Morris hit a couple shots. The team looked like it was really going to have another. You were like, oh, I'm really excited about this season. And then, like, trapdoor, the floor fell out, and the Knicks just played like trash after that. They had a second quarter. The Wizards beat them 41-17 in the second quarter. And from there, it was really like, it wasn't even a game.
And at that moment, you're like, oh, I see why a lot of people don't have faith in the Knicks this season.
Yeah, you're watching that being like, is this what the season's going to be like? Because is this what the season's going to be like? I don't know if I could stand this.
Yeah, so I guess things of note, Portis played his first preseason game, and Iggy made an appearance.
Iggy was there for like a half a second. It was just like, he was like, hi, I'm here, like a cameo, and he was off the court. I'm not sure how long he actually played, but it seemed like he was there for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
How long did he actually play for? He played for
7 minutes.
7 minutes. It didn't even seem that long. He did. I'm just looking at the box score now, realizing he shot twice. I did not know that from watching the game. He was barely there, and there wasn't a lot to that game. I didn't think Portis looked very good, but again, it's the preseason, so it's not like a big deal. They were missing. Basically, what happened, the Wizards just went crazy from three. The Knicks can never guard the three-point line, and the Wizards just hit like a ton of shots, and from there, the Knicks it just seemed like everything went in that the Wizards shot, which kind of makes it hard to beat the other team if they can't miss a shot.
Yeah, if they're going to hit 9 more threes than you in a game, that's usually going to be a problem.
They shot 46% from three. Yes, you need to guard the three-point line a little better so they don't shoot 46% from the three-point line, but that's a pretty goddamn high percentage. And
yeah, when you're shooting better from the three than you are the two, that's a problem.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever. The game, that sucked. Elfrid Payton helped ignite a new battle at the point guard. Elfrid Payton's like, oh, you guys if you're thinking all about me as point guard, I'm going to play like trash in this game. Ntilikina wasn't very good either, but compared to Payton, he at least looked better.
Payton had a team-leading -24.
I liked in the first game, Payton seemed like he was at least aggressive attacking the basket. Even if he was still passing the ball. He's more of a pass first, shoot second kind of guy. But he at least was like trying to break down the defense. He wasn't doing any of that in this game. Ntilikina he played some defense, but on offense, he still wasn't very good. It just he looked better than Payton. I hope to God Dennis Smith looks better than this trash, because not trash, but I don't know what's going on at the point guard. We need someone that looks decent at point guard. The offense just seemed to fall apart. It seemed like after they were up 30-15, it seemed like no one could hit a basket. They stopped passing to each other. Everything went ISO. The only guy that could hit a shot, Marcus Morris, looked awesome, but no one else did. And Mitchell. Sorry.
You post a Facebook question of the day, and yours the other day was how do you rank the Knicks point guards? And
yeah.
Our friend Martin wrote below average.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
I'm just curious where people even rank these guys right now. I guess is Ntilikina out? I mean, Ntilikina is the only guy that's. I mean, he hasn't been. He's been crap, but he hasn't been as crappy as Payton. And Dennis Smith can't make it on the court, so I guess he's better than Dennis Smith.
Cool.
I mean, and do we even count Kadeem Allen, who hasn't played yet? Because the Knicks have no faith in Kadeem Allen. Who knows if he'll be on the roster? So
Well, he has a strained right foot.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you could just be out. He's out because the Knicks have no faith in him. But I'll pretend strained right foot is the reason. I don't know what's going to happen there. By the way, Mitchell Robinson was just almost fouled out within 30 seconds of being in there. It was like foul, 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 foul. It's like if the camera's on me, I'm going to foul.
5 fouls in 11 minutes. This was our concern going into the season.
In fairness, there were a couple touch fouls on him right away, and I don't know. I also feel like the refs try to go out of their way to call extra fouls in the preseason just because they're like,
got to set the tone.
Yeah, set the tone. Like their boss are like, you got to look at this. You got to look at traveling more. Stare at their feet. And like, so they call a bunch of those players. Just stare at this, stare at that, stare at the passing lanes. And so they call a ton of stupid fouls. And you're like, what are you preparing us for? A terrible, a horrible, a hard to watch regular season?
Right.
Would it be great if you could eliminate the refs and had like a computer doing all the foul calls?
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad thing.
I mean, it's just, or just stop doing the touch fouls. The touch fouls make the game horrible. Is there a worse system you could have than having like every 5 seconds you have to stop the game so because somebody can shoot two baskets for like the action just stops always.
You should like it. You're a baseball fan.
I know. I've been trying to think of it. Is there a better system than free throws?
You're like, there's a bunch of guys just standing around. I feel like I'm watching baseball.
I might even watch baseball then. Like, would it be better if everyone shot all their free throws at the end of the half?
No.
Is there another way to do this?
Just don't call touch fouls.
I mean, it's freaking awful. So I have a question for you, Jay.
Okay.
On a different topic a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as I'm sure you wish well to all the ex-Knicks or guys that should have been a Knick.
Oh yeah.
But or just anyone in the NBA you wish well to that's not a Knick. But who would you have greater pleasure out of having a horrible season? KP or Zion? Nothing against Zion. He's great, and he hasn't done anything wrong except for the Knicks didn't get to pick him, so screw him. What would give you greater pleasure? And KP, I mean, like, just because he doesn't want to be a Knick doesn't mean he's a bad person. I shouldn't wish terrible things upon him, even though I do.
Probably Zion, just because ESPN's putting all their eggs in the Zion basket. It's like the heat index that they had a few years ago. It's like everything Zion now.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be sick of him within like 3 games into the season.
So if he ends up being kind of like bustish, like just kind of his numbers aren't great, teams figure him out, he starts not being like he starts being Jahlil Okafor out there, but KP ends up being like an all-star. You'd prefer that?
I mean, we know KP's good. I think the only question is, can he stay on the court?
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to be shocked if he's borderline all-star. I just, if he plays more than 50 games, I might be more surprised.
So that or Zion is an all-star in his rookie season, and KP plays 12 games this year, and he's inefficient in all 12 games.
I don't want him to like just always be hurt, but I would feel a lot better about the trade unless Smith plays 11 games.
I'm going to say the KP bad things with, and no offense to KP, I don't really want someone to be injured. I just want him to not be a good NBA player because we traded him, and like Zion we never had. KP will make me feel terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
Zion will just be the story of the balls just not falling our way, or like the lottery just didn't work out, and we ended up missing it. Just like we missed Steph Curry. Versus KP, like he was on our team, and he ends up being like a perennial all-star. I'll be like, God damn it! We couldn't even. The one guy that ends up being a perennial all-star, and we have to trade him.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, if you want to talk about dodge bullets, Kyrie got injured twice already since last season.
Twice already?
Yeah, he got hurt in summer league and he got hurt in preseason.
Okay, so he's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll work out. It's going to work out as well as the Nets think it will.
I don't either.
By the way, Zion is looking freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's shooting 110% from the field, and he cannot be stopped apparently. I guess we'll see what happens in the regular season. I would think defenses would like. I don't think he'll be this good, but the Pelicans are now 5-0 in preseason, so they're going to win the preseason title.
5-0 is pretty good.
Yeah. By the way, Barrett actually looked kind of decent again.
He's going to be up and down all season, I think.
I mean, he doesn't shoot the highest percentage, but like he was decent. I mean, he had a bunch of rebounds. I thought generally he looked okay out there. So I wasn't I still think he'll be a good player. He just hopefully it's not going to be the whole time where everyone's going to be like, yeah, he's kind of good, but he's not the greatest of all time that Zion is.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Knicks Twitter's already doing that.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to go some questions we have on Facebook and email, and then we'll go through and talk about some other things.
Okay.
Do you want to do the emails first, or do you want to do Facebook first?
Yeah, we could do emails. I just want to thank our newest Patreon, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
We love getting new Patreons. It happens every few months.
Yeah, no. So we're getting closer and closer to our goal of $500 million a month.
Mm-hmm.
When we get there, we will buy the New York Knicks. And the Knicks will be really good because we'll own the team and control the team. And no one is better to run a NBA basketball team than guys who have a podcast.
We guarantee better results than the last 20 years. Guaranteed. I
guarantee we'll win more than 17 games a season. So we'll be better than Phil Jackson and the current owner.
All right.
It's DM.
So V writes, is there any way you guys seeing the Knicks making the 8? If they do, would you call the season a win for the franchise? There's 2 parts. We'll start with that.
By the way, just on a side note, we were talking about who the best player on this team is. And I think we've been saying Randall's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
I think it might be Marcus Morris at this point.
Might be.
Yeah. So how I see the Knicks making the playoffs, I see Morris being an all-star. I see Randall being really good. I see Dennis Smith taking a step forward. And RJ Barrett being a lot better than people expected, being not a borderline all-star, but like in the conversation for like all first-team rookie, and Knox being more efficient this year. All those things work out. Knicks are an 8th seed, maybe a 7th seed, and they're going to be a tough game on anyone's schedule, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that pretty much sums it up. And that would definitely be a win for the season.
And Mitchell Robinson not being in foul trouble all the time and being like at least second team all defensive.
Yeah.
A lot has to go right in this team for us to really like have a shot at the 8th seed.
But I would definitely call that a win.
Yeah, I think the question is to you, Jay. How do you judge what would be a successful season here?
Well, playoffs definitely is a given. Other than that, I would say establishing some players for the future. So, like if we can definitively say, like Barrett, Robinson, and I don't know, Knox or Ntilikina, like they're definite keepers, then I think that's a win for a season. Because right now, I don't know if you can say like these are definitely the guys of the future. I mean,
would it be fair to say? I mean, like the win total will. I mean, kind of almost silly to say, but the win total really will determine how successful the season is. If the team wins 35, 40 games, enough stuff would have worked out that it's a good season, that we're in the right direction. If we win 20 games, was there really any player development?
Maybe, but I mean, what if they win 35 games, but they're playing, Morris and Gibson, and like they benched all the young guys, and they're just going all vets who we know are going to be gone in a year or two.
I mean, that's a fair point. You would assume that if they're getting 35, 40 wins, it's not because just Morris and like Wade Ellington suddenly had an amazing year and he won't be here very long. You'd have to think like, because if Randall has a great year, you'll think, hey, he's 20. What is Randall? 24 years old. Mm-hmm. He can be part of the future. I'm okay with it, even though he wasn't drafted here. Mm-hmm. Even like Portis, he's pretty young still, so it's like he could be part of the future. The only guys I feel like are definitely not part of the future, Taj Gibson, he's obviously a veteran. He's a little bit older, and Marcus Morris is 30. Probably his age doesn't really line up for the rest of the team.
Right.
You would think more likely than not, like the number of wins, you're breaking 35 wins. You're more than doubling your wins from last season. Things are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean,
Reggie
obviously you're right. There's circumstances where it cannot work out, but it's as good as any barometer for how the Knicks are doing at this point.
Reggie Bullock's 28 too, so he's not old, but
he's not even playing to like the All-Star break or something like that, right?
Yeah. All right, so part 2. Also with the 21 free agent class, do you guys see us getting a superstar?
So 21 is in 2 years. I don't see us getting a superstar unless we are at least in the 8th seed.
Yeah, I think they would have to be a playoff team, and they're going to have at least 2 of the young guys be like established starters.
I think you'd have to do like what the Nets did last year. I think the Nets are now maybe the Nets are the model for getting guys to sign with you.
Right.
You've made enough you've shown enough. You have some players who look like they can be pretty good. Even though like one of their best players is now on the Golden State Warriors, they still had Dinwiddie, they still have LeVert, and they won like 40-something games. It was enough to like convince other teams that or other players that like they were doing things right and there's a future here.
Yeah, Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen's pretty good. Yeah, I can understand. I can understand why. I guess Katie thinks they're cool.
Yeah.
What a dumbass comment.
All right, so we're nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We're nyknicks.
Do you think Katie?
Let me do the plug stuff.
Okay, whatever. Do you think Katie said? Okay, get into all the. What do you want to say?
Knicks Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon,
Pornhub,
and Instagram, and maybe that if somebody made an account. So, the New York Knicks Podcast.com is the website. Less than 10 shirts left if you want to pick up a Knicks Podcast shirt.
They're going fast, and they're a collector's item.
Yes.
And if you happen to if you tell Jay what your favorite player is, Jay will write that player's number in a Sharpie on the back of the shirt.
Excuse me?
Will you not do that?
No.
Why not?
My handwriting's terrible. Nobody wants that.
No one wants you. Just write a number on there.
Sure. If somebody really wants that, I will write a number. Yes. Sure.
Maybe you can buy a stencil and color in the number on the back of the shirt.
I love how all your ideas are more work for me.
Will you throw in a pen?
Yeah. If you buy a shirt, you definitely get a pen.
Guerrilla marketing. Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's go on.
Okay. That's it for emails, actually.
Jeffrey writes.
It's been a little light.
Okay. A little bit of deja vu. The Knicks are a little bit light. A little bit of deja vu with our Knicks-like fake comeback the other night. They did have a little bit of a comeback, but it wasn't even that close. If Morris can play this good during the season, what do you think the odds of him getting an all-star consideration? And if he does play that well, do we trade him? And what do you think we could get for him?
He probably would be traded.
I mean, he's you have him for next season, so there's some value. He's on an expiring contract.
Yeah. On the other hand, the Knicks are probably going to be looking at a guard and saying we have too many forwards at some point this season.
I mean, it's fair to say the Knicks probably think of him as like, if he's good, we're going to try to see what we can get out of trading him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess 30-year-old guy who has his first all-star season, probably worth a first-round pick, you think?
Yeah.
A late first-round pick?
Yeah.
Is the first call, do you, if he's playing really well, do you call Pop and see if he wants to trade?
Do you want anything on his team right now, though?
I mean, I was just kidding. You think Popovich would actually do this trade? I think Popovich would go I just want to see him in person so I can spit on his face, spit on him. Popovich freaking hates him.
Does he?
He's made. Have you missed the fact that he's made a couple of comments how Morris really just screwed them? They traded away what's his name? They traded away one of the players on their team to make space for Morris before he screwed them over.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
I mean, I like Marcus Morris. I'm a total fan now. He's a Knick, but I would be so bitter if he did this to the Knicks.
Yeah.
They literally traded another player away to make room so they could sign Morris, and they thought he was going to sign, and he's like, psych, gotcha. Popovich is angry about it. They've asked Morris about it. He's like, I don't see what the big deal is. But they asked Pop, and he's like, I want to murder him. So I would love to make that call. I'm like, Pop, are you sure? He's like, are you? I mean, if you could trade it to me, but just mail his carcass to Siberia. That's where the trade would be. That'll make me happy. Anyway, I think he has some trade. I think he'll have some trade value. Do you think? Here's a question for you. Let's say the Knicks are playing close to 500 ball at the trade deadline. Morris is having an all-star season. would you trade Morris, or do you say like this team is playing really well? How can I trade away? They're one of the best players.
Yeah, you keep them make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, at that point, it's like, what are you going to do? Get like, I don't know what you're going to get. You get a first round draft pick, and then you just miss the playoffs, and I don't know.
well, you can say we're developing the future. Draft picks matter more than a 30-year-old player who's going to be here. He'll be here one more year, and
Yeah, but what are you going to get? Like a 24th pick? Like, what's that going to do?
I don't know. You can get a 24th pick. You can eventually let that 24th pick go to Atlanta Hawks and sign him for $80 million after. I don't know.
And then trade him a year after that.
Yeah, it's really hard with whatever franchise cornerstone player you've drafted. I don't know. I feel like they're at such a weird place where you're probably not going to get signed an all-star. Your rookies, they're not developing. The graphics aren't working out as well as you hoped, and the path forward is really unclear.
Yeah, it's a very strange time.
But anyway, hopefully Morris is an all-star because I just want to see some wins. I want to see a competitive season. Paul writes, what players would you give up along with RJ to get Zion? Mitch? So would you trade RJ and Mitch to get Zion right now? And just keep in mind, if he becomes a Knick, he'll get injured and never play another game.
That's the only thing that was stopping me from thinking that. I'm like,
I just feel like he's the heaviest player, or the second heaviest player in the league, and he relies on his jumping ability. Just sounds like a recipe for disaster.
yeah, it does. But then if he's healthy, he's going to be like probably insanely good.
I mean, he looks like the preseason MVP right now.
Yeah.
So would you trade RJ and Mitch?
I think I do.
RJ, Mitch, and I don't know if anyone would want anything else in this roster.
Yeah, I don't like anybody else on the team, so it's easier after that.
Would you trade RJ and a number 1 pick for this coming season to get Zion?
It could be a really good pick this year.
Could be, but is it going to be Zion?
I probably would.
I'm. By the way, I really hate watching the box scores for Zion and KP all season.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I mean, I also really want to watch the games and see Zion play. I'm just hoping he's really not this good. But just speaking of, so Zion's game is a lot of dunking, right?
Yeah.
Why can't I was just thinking, I was watching highlights of him, and I'm like, what happened to last season when the Knicks kept alley-ooping to Mitchell Robinson? He was throwing everything down. It's only been 2 preseason games, but they seem like they're not even using that part of their offense.
Well, they don't really have a good point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it comes down to. You think if they had Doncic, that Mitch wouldn't be lobbing like 10 times a game?
Do you think so they have a lot of young players who are inexperienced, but they also have a coach who's fairly inexperienced. Do you think their coach holding them back in any way? Like with a very young team, are we better off with a young coach who's going to learn with them, or would this team just be better off with an experienced coach who might get them on the track to being better faster, just with experience?
Do you have anybody in mind though? Like,
I don't. I'm not saying we really should fire Fizz. I'm just wondering, like, last year Fizz didn't have an offense drawn up the entire season. He didn't seem like he was just like, I want to keep things simple, and like some of it made sense, his philosophy. But I'm watching the preseason going, they're not running offensive plays. There's no real offense here either. And then partly it's probably because there's no point guard. I'm just wondering if maybe a better coach could somehow fix things. I don't know. I am just grasping at anything in my mind to figure out how the hell you fix this team.
Yeah, I don't really know if there's I can't think of a really good coach that's even available that you would want to make an upgrade for.
Yeah, I feel like if the Knicks are just terrible this season, they win like 17 games again, I would just fire Fizdale. I would just say like, hey, like it's just not working out.
Well, yeah, if they win 17 games again, he's a goner.
I feel like in my mind he's got at least win 10 more games and just not be a horror show of a team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame him at all for last season. It was a terrible roster.
No, I don't blame him at all. I mean, I just don't know. Like, I don't know if a better coach, I don't know any coach. If Pop was here, they'd probably be terrible.
Right. It's like,
you'd be like, we brought in Popovich, he got us to 18 wins.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. It really is.
Yeah, it's a tough situation because why we root for this team? Isn't rooting for sports about just pure entertainment? It's taking you away from Jay. You hate your job. I know you do. We all know you do. Should like what you do in your spare time be fun, entertaining, not miserable like your job?
Right. Yeah, this is feeling like a second job.
It's not even the podcast. It's just following the team feels like a second job.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Paul writes.
podcast now feels like a third job.
Paul writes, whose development will Taj get in the way of? It's a good question.
Yeah. I would have said Mitch, but he might just foul out so quickly that it's not even doesn't even matter.
I think Mitch is going to get minutes either way. I think it's really good. He's going to interfere with Bobby Portis' minutes.
Well, if we don't develop Bobby Portis, I'll be.
I didn't see that much from Bobby Portis in the second preseason game. I'm sure he can light up. I mean, he's young. He can shoot really well from three. Maybe he'll end up being a good player. I don't have a lot of faith in Bobby Portis right now. But I'm waiting for him to have like 5 games in a row where I'm like, holy crap, this Bobby Portis is amazing.
Well, he hasn't knocked anybody out yet, so that's good.
Yeah, well, there might be some guys, the way the Knicks play, there might be some guys on the team that deserve that.
Yeah.
Bobby writes, if the Knicks aren't cool, then why is it that Katie can't stop talking about us?
Probably because he gets asked about us like every time he's near a microphone.
I mean, seriously. Do you think he said the cool stuff, but it's really just that he doesn't like Dolan and want to say, and didn't want to like, he was like, this is my best thing I could say because I just wanted to say that Dolan's an a-hole and I don't want to come here because of Dolan.
Somebody should say that if that's the way, if that's why people aren't coming here, somebody needs to say that.
I mean, I wonder if that's really true. I don't know. I'm wondering what the deal is. Like, the cool thing was just a weird. I mean, I guess with the cool thing, maybe he was just saying, I know everyone's obsessed with players coming to New York, but there's no real draw here. You guys could be the Sacramento Kings for all we care. There's nothing about, we haven't seen you guys be good, so we don't think this is like a place that we all have to play.
Right. And I don't blame them at all.
Yeah, because no one goes crazy. No one's like, Katie, why didn't you go to the Kings? I mean, like, I can't believe you didn't go to the Kings.
Yeah. I mean, if they've stunk his whole life, like there's really not much to be like, oh yeah, you got to go here because they were good 30 years ago.
What, Katie is 32 years old?
Yeah, he's seen good teams, but not many because he was really, really young when the Knicks were good.
Yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't even matter. Like, they haven't been good in 20 years. I think they said next year, for the first time, rookies will come into the league where basically they haven't seen the Knicks good since they came into the league.
Yeah.
So, counting out the 54-win season. Which
Yeah,
is
I
like
said that.
But generally, they haven't been relevant. I can't believe how bad they've been for so long. Is there any other team that's been this bad this long? Who's had less success than the Knicks? I know there are teams that. Well, I saw something that was the Seattle Supersonics have still won more games in the last 20 years, more playoff games in the last 20 years than the Knicks have.
I think maybe the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a short list.
It's a really short list. It's a depressing list. Bobby writes, Paul responds to Bobby. I think Kyrie is the one who cares about cool, and Doofus Katie is just a follower. But no, the Knicks are not cool. Yet they are cool in the sense of like they have the most devoted fan base, and the team is worth $8 trillion. It's the most. Why is the team worth so much? Is it because we play in New York and there's all like these tourists?
Yeah, they sell out every game no matter what.
But why do they sell out every game?
Because it's in New York.
I know, but like
you get so much tourist traffic in New York.
The Lakers have been good a lot more than the Knicks have in the last 20 years. It's just as touristy a town as New York, and they have the celebrities that go there. Why aren't the Lakers worth more than the Knicks?
I think there's more to do in LA, like outdoors. No, really. Like I think a lot of people are doing outdoor stuff in LA, and in New York, you go to the Knicks game.
Like the Celtics. The Celtics have like they've been a lot better. I mean, just any team that's been really good for the last 10 plus years this team in theory should be worth more than the Knicks.
Yeah, in theory, that's not the way it works.
I mean, the Knicks have been garbage. That's why they've been worth so much money.
I mean, they sell out every game, and the tickets are like ridiculously overpriced. And
They sell it, and they also merchandise. They sell a ton of merchandise.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're charging like $12 for a beer, and that all adds into it.
But it's amazing that they can.
I know.
Paul writes, "What's better for Frank's trade value, to play him or not to play him?"
These are the kind of really uplifting questions that I like getting.
You know that got that point guard that we drafted 2 years ago that we really had high hopes for. Do you think it'd be better off not playing him, because playing him will only make his trade value go lower?
You know, the guy who we drafted with our top 10 pick.
I mean, holy crap! By the way, Shea Alexander. I was just looking at again. It's preseason, and I didn't actually watch him. But for OKC, like, I saw Shea Alexander been putting up pretty good numbers, and he had a pretty good year last year. Could we have drafted him instead of not? I mean, Knox is great and all that, but why can't we ever draft the right guy? Like, if we draft Donovan Mitchell and Shea Gilgeous Alexander, how much better of a team would we have right now?
Plus, we'd get to hear you try and pronounce his name every episode.
It would be great. It would be great for everyone involved. Lewis writes, "Can Marcus Morris be a more talented version of Oakley?" Wow.
Bold statement there.
Kind of insulting to Oakley. No offense to Marcus Morris, but come on.
I think he'll be maybe better on offense, but there's no way he's going to be a better rebounder than Oak.
Yeah. Listen, at no point will Dolan try to kick him out of the stadium. Paul writes, "Crazy talk. Dude bopped a ball on a guy's head. Oakley was the hardest working player ever." And Lewis writes, "Yes, and Oakley never threw a punch or a cheap shot at anyone." Oh, no, never, nope.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on from that. But Marcus Morris could be how about he could be our Oakley for this generation's team? For this year. Come on.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right.
Frank writes, "Not so much a question, but a prediction. The Knicks and the Mavericks will win roughly the same amount of games, in the 35-40 range." So if the Knicks win 35-40, we're probably agreement that it's been a pretty darn good season, right?
Yeah.
If the Mavericks win 35-40 games, we're probably in agreement that they had a lousy season, right?
No.
Really?
Think that's about what I expect them to get, because they're in the West. And
I don't know. You got Dunce. You got one of the best rookies in the. I guess you got basically the best rookie, arguably the best rookie in the league last year. You got KP. You're building your core. You can't win more than 35 games.
It's a little thin after that, though.
Yeah, but come on. They should be able to build a lot. That should
In
be
the
a lot
West,
to build.
I mean, that's like a playoff team in the East, but yeah, the West is tough, man.
I don't know. That's not. I feel like you want to be at least 500 with that squad. They win 35 games, I'm gonna be happy, because I feel like that means KP had a lousy. I think KP season, he will be. I think the big thing from KP season he will be inefficient most of the season.
Yeah, I mean they have Hardaway too. He'll play like
He'll be
20
really
to 30
inefficient too. Tristan writes, "Why does Mark have a New York accent but Jay doesn't?" Because Jay is a goddamn. What are you? What's wrong with you, Jay?
I think it's because I lived in Boston for 5 years for college, so it kind of like neutralized my accent. So now I have like a neutral accent.
So it kind of like this is like the blend of like New York talk and asshole talk.
Right.
Paul writes, "I grew up with and loved the 90s Knicks. Back then, I was happy just to watch a competitive team. These days, I'm championship or bust. How can we go from this team to a championship? Is it even possible with Dolan and Mills? Who would still be on this team if we became a contender? Are you guys happy to watch a mediocre team that can't go anywhere in the playoffs?" And a couple replies to that. Bobby writes, "Mediocre would be a step in the a step up from raw sewage." And Paul said, "To what end, man? Just because we've been beaten down so long, I don't think we would accept just okay. Golden State, Philly, the Bucks, now the Nets, Hawks, King." Okay, fine. Plenty of teams can build stuff. Okay, first of all, are you going to be happy with like a 40-win season in the sense of like going to a season where you just win a bunch more games in the last couple of years? Would that just make you like happier in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, for me, 40 wins would be would make me happy because I feel like the Knicks aren't anywhere close to 40 wins this season.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with the raw sewage comment. Like, it's been so terrible that even a mediocre team would make me happy for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I can get back to the point where, like, I want this team to actually be a playoff team and have a shot.
Right.
If the Knicks drafted Zion, what tune would you be singing?
It would be a very happy tune.
Would you be like, hey, this team can really go somewhere?
Yeah, I would probably expect the playoffs.
Yeah. It's amazing how this is the goddamn 2 picks away, and we could have a guy that we'd be really, really excited about right now.
Been 2 picks away a couple times. Almost
Very happy to have you, though, RJ.
Please come on the show.
Please come on the show. I think RJ's could be pretty good. If you're listening, RJ, I know you are.
Yeah, definitely. All right, pause it, RJ. Yeah, I'm really worried about RJ.
Okay, I don't know. I thought going through the questions made more sense than anything else in the show. Anything else you want to talk about, Jay?
No, I don't think so. It's hard doing a show when there's been one preseason game in an entire week.
Do you think there should be more preseason games? I know there used to be more,
No.
and they cut back because no one wanted a lot of preseason games. Preseason games are kind of lame. At the same time, wouldn't it make a lot more sense to play 8 or 10 preseason games before you start the
No,
season? So
it's
everyone's
when there's 8 or 10, they play like G League players for the first 6 of them. So like you're only getting 4 games with like actual NBA players anyway, no matter what you do.
I feel the preseason for many teams, or at least for the Knicks, starts on game 1 of the regular season.
No, the Knicks are playing their real lineup.
I know they are. I'm just saying, like, the Knicks are still going to be. Everyone's so new that like you're really still figuring things out for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Well, that's their fault for turning over the entire roster every season.
Well, that's what we do, Jay. So you have to live with like this is what the state of things are. We turn over the roster. Like, the NBA should adjust to us.
I'm just saying, if you look at the Knicks roster for the last preseason game, if there was 10 preseason games, they would have been playing a lineup of King, Wooten, Hinton, Peters, and Allen.
I don't know. Maybe I could root more for that team.
So yeah, I'm fine with only a couple preseason games.
By the way, they put in Trier, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Trier can be a good guy off the bench. He's gonna be like a real scoring threat. I got like really excited for like a moment, and I was like, I keep trying to get myself excited about guys.
He scored a lot.
He played okay. He had a decent game.
I mean, he turned the ball over a ton.
Yeah, that's kind of what he didn't look great out there. I know he hit some shots. He didn't look that great out there.
I mean, when your turnovers per 36 minutes is 11, it's not good.
Yeah, well,
I still hate per 36, but anyway, it's a dumb stat. But 5 turnovers in 17 minutes is bad. No matter which way you want to talk about it.
You know, if you talk about the Knicks stats, but in per 57 for their game average, then everything sounds a lot better.
Maybe we should try and bring that up.
Ways the league should adapt to the Knicks.
ESPN, add a per 57 stat just for the Knicks.
Nilakina, I see you're averaging 37 points a game. Yeah, we're going up per 112s.
Actually, that would be the opposite. You need like a per 11. Right?
Oh, I don't know. Now you're getting in hard math, Jay.
Oh, no, you're right. No, you were doing it right. I'm tired.
I think I was doing it. I'm tired of this team. I know. The season hasn't started. It's becoming rough already. And I know it's only been 1 loss in preseason. It didn't really matter. Who cares? They're just 1-1. They won the first game. I'm overreacting. But yeah.
We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. I'm thinking first game of the season, I think we're going with the lineup that's out there, right? Pretty much. It's going to be Morris, Barrett, Randall, Robinson, and then whoever the point guard is. Right. Oh, so the big news for the next preseason game is Dennis Smith is supposed to be healthy for the next game. What do you expect from him? Let's end the show with this.
I expect him not to go 0 for 9.
So he's going to blow away the other 2 point guards in the competition.
Yes. 2 for 9, starting point guard job is yours.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Okay. And what did we learn today, Jay?
We learned that 1 loss really sets us off.
I don't know. I actually went out Friday night. I went to the movies. I saw the Joker movie, which was goddamn weird. Just freaking weird movie. Joaquin Phoenix lost 5,000 pounds for this movie. He looked like his skeleton. He looked like a skeleton that had lost weight. It looked so disgusting. The movie was just like it's an interesting movie. It's worth seeing. I don't know if you have to see it in the movies, but like a really interesting whatever. Anyway, I came back from that and I was like, I got to watch the Knicks game also. I watched the Knicks game and I got really excited when they were up 30-15. I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun game to watch. And then it just became a disaster. And I was like, what the hell am I watching? I can't believe I want to watch the season of the Knicks.
Cool. So we'll be back next week.
I don't know. It's just, are you going to see the Joker movie, Jay?
Yeah, like 3 years from now, like I do every movie.
Okay.
I just watched The Quiet Place.
The hell's that?
It's a horror movie, and there's monsters that are blind but can only hear things, so everyone has to be really quiet.
Sounds goddamn awful. Was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It was good.
And the Joker, I think people also, like, some people really loved the Joker. It was just, it was a weird movie.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be back next week with some games under our belt, right?
Yeah. The one thing in the Joker is he has a I'm not rooting anything for the movie because you find this out in like the first like 3 minutes of the movie. He has like some kind of thing where basically he uncontrollably laughs randomly, with just randomly uncontrollably laughs. I guess if it's the Joker thing, it'd be great if we can get a coach that would just like uncontrollably laugh randomly on the sideline. That'd be entertaining. Okay.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
My love. Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You cannot go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.